I have a secret that I need to share with you today, and it's not something I'm looking forward to sharing with you, but it is something that yesterday came to me. It came to me from the Holy Spirit. In the last 4 years, I've gotten reasonably good at hearing from Him and understanding what's coming from me and what's coming from Him. And the very nature of my not wanting to share this with you was an indicator to me that it's from Him and He has a specific purpose as to why I need to share this secret. So before I share that with you, what I'd like to ask of you is for you to extend me a little bit of grace here, because it isn't easy for me to talk about. But I also invite anybody who's watching this video to hear this message because it's for you. The reason that I've been asked to share my experience is so that you know you are not alone. This happens, and there is absolutely a way out for you. So having said that, what I want to share with you is in my 40s, I experienced a tremendous episode of deep depression. And along with the depression was something that we call generalized anxiety disorder. Now, instead of going into all the details about how the depression developed, what I'll share with you is the depression developed from I was in a place of a true sense of isolation. I was disconnected. My marriage was imploding. My career had taken a serious turn in a direction that I did not want it to go. So those factors contributed, along with some other things, to this very deep depression. And within the throes of that depression, the thing that was happening was suicide sounded like a great idea. It sounded like a practical idea. And as I'm sharing this with you now, all these years later, I'm 59 now. This was my early 40s when this happened. I can't even believe at how far I had sunk at that point. And what I want to share with you today is I'll share some specifics with you that I think are important for you to recognize if you're going through this yourself. But I want to offer this video up as the darkest times that we move through in our life. Actually, if we let it, if we turn to God, if we understand the difference between the mind and the brain and how you can use the mind to train your brain, when you combine those three things together, that knowledge, you can completely turn your life around. And that very, very dark time that you are in your life can be the building blocks for a life that is the most purpose-filled, the most amazing, and the most full of love that you've ever experienced in your life. Now, going back to that time in my 40s when I was in the middle of this very deep depression, I didn't even recognize it. And I have a tremendous compassion for people dealing with depression because I was someone who worked in that world. I worked with neuropsychiatrists. I worked with psychiatrists. I worked with neurologists. I knew all the symptoms inside and out of what it constituted to be in a depressive state. I knew what the symptoms were and the diagnostic tools to diagnose generalized anxiety disorder, but I couldn't recognize it in myself. So, in fact, the thing that I want to stress to all of you right now, if you are in your own depressive episode, you might think your brain is working perfectly fine. And the problem with these types of disease states is when your brain is not working properly, it doesn't know that it's not working properly. And the thing that I want to share with you is when I got into that place of the depression, that the idea of suicide made sense to me. Right now, I can tell you, oh my God, it doesn't make any sense at all. It doesn't matter how awful your life is. It never makes sense for a whole bunch of reasons. But when you're in that place of depression and you're convinced that the best way forward is to simply end your life, I want to share with you right now, that is the worst way forward. And this is the time in your life right now to step out of isolation, to reach out to one person that you can help. And I want you to just take that first step forward, because the antidote to depression, to suicidal thoughts, even to addiction, things like addiction, is connection. When we are disconnected from everyone else and we move into isolation, that's when we start the downward spiral. So I'll bring you back momentarily to why I thought that committing suicide was a good idea at the time and what pulled me out of it. The reason I thought it was a good idea at the time is, number one, because my brain was not working properly. And I distinctly remember sitting on the couch contemplating. I was trying to come up with a plan that would work, that would look like I died from natural causes because I was married at the time. And I didn't want my then husband to have to deal with all of the financial problems that would come. And so as I was revolving this plan around in my head, I heard the Holy Spirit say to me, remember, I was not religious at this point. I heard the Holy Spirit say to me, you can't do it, because at the time I had 2 little dogs, and one of them, whose name is Trixie, was completely attached to me. And I was shown, I didn't know this was Holy Spirit at the time. I was shown that the people in my life would not be okay. And this little dog needed me. That's how God got my attention. He convinced me to call for help because my little dog had been rescued from a puppy mill and who also had a compromised immune system and depended on me would not be okay if something happened to me. I can't tell you why that snapped me out of it. Why my little dog, the contemplation of my little dog not doing well without me snapped me out of this depressive state versus, oh no, this would be devastating to my family. I still can't explain that to you, but the Holy Spirit knew that's what would work to get me to call for help. And I did call for help. And the fantastic news is the system to support me went into action like that. I called in the morning that same day. I had an appointment with my physician. She and I had a conversation. She knew what my background was, why I knew what I knew about psychotropic drugs. She got me started on a medication that was of my preference, started at a dose that was of my preference because I knew all these things. I understood that class of drugs very, very well by the nature of work I did. And within a few days, my mood started lifting and I started seeing the possibilities. And more importantly, in my follow-up check with her about a week later, I said to her, I didn't understand how sick I was until I started feeling better. So the combination of getting some medical help, getting some counseling help, and then I had the courage to share it with my family about where I was, including my husband. It did scare him. But all of a sudden, I went from feeling complete and total isolation to be surrounded by support. And I'm happy to tell you that I don't take medication. I haven't for years. I haven't had to take medication for years and years and years. And that experience, as dark as it was, set me up for another big, big change that would come in my life of moving myself into complete and total isolation. This was 4 years ago. I was in a very similar situation around my career. I had developed a gray zone drinking problem, and I was in a career that had burned me up, but I had no idea how to leave it because I didn't know what my purpose would be anymore. And it didn't occur to me until yesterday that I survived this second time around in isolation because of everything I learned the first time around. That dark, dark episode in my life gave me the skill set, gave me the information about how to never get there again in my life. And this time around, I was able to develop my faith practice. I now had even more neuroscience knowledge, more understanding of how the brain worked, move into this new period of isolation and come out of it with a brand new network, with an incredibly strong faith. I've built a new career for myself. I'm on the way to being in the best shape of my life. I'm 6 months away from that goal. So I want you to really take to heart, because September is National Suicide Prevention Awareness Month. I want you to take to heart my story. I have been there. It was a very, very dark time in my life. There's all kinds of detail that I could go into that I won't, because this video is already very long. But I want you to know that I see you. I know what it feels like. I know right now you think it makes sense. It doesn't make sense. This very thing that you're moving through right now has the power to be the thing that redeems you, the thing that brings you to your true purpose, your true understanding of who you are in this world and how much you have to give. I can tell you at this point in my life, I am in love with my life. And I want that for you too. If you need help, I'm asking you to call someone today. We're going to put the phone number for the suicide prevention hotline in this video. We're going to put it right here. If you need to call somebody, call this line. They know exactly what you need. They will walk you through the process. And that is your first step. I'm going to pray for every single one of you. I'm going to pray the rosary for you. I'm Catholic. I'm a Catholic convert. I'm going to pray the rosary for your healing, and that this time will be made valuable and useful to turn you into the person God created you to be. I want all of you to know I love you, I care about you, and I believe in you.